So evening, guys. Yeah, so the vehicle's in after stage 5. We did the 500 kilometer odd of liaison, and then a short 118 kilometer race stage. So while I've got a bit of time, I thought I'd just go through a couple of things in the vehicle for people out of interstate. So we've got the car in here, we're going through it. We had a side shaft failure today, which caused us absolute Edmund and a lot of lost time, and the guys are going through the vehicle now, preparing it for marathon day. But just, I thought I'd just go through a few interesting things to show you. So if you look here in the back of the car, that's over here, you can see there's a spare control arm. Here's another spare control arm that's just bolted onto the back there. Those are spare parts we carry in the car. And you can see it in here, and underneath there, there's spare prop shaft and spare side shafts. Okay. Then in terms of the weight distribution of the car, if you look here, like a normal double cab has got a whole lot of space in this area, and the bin comes here, and then there would be a tailgate and all that kind of stuff. So you see this car actually ends at the back axle. So if you look here, the back axle is down here. So you cut a line up, and you go across everything. The back is very light, and actually all there is a little bit of a frame and some aesthetic panels to make the car look like the bakkie. And then with the previous generation, you had the spare wheels bolted on here, which was weight behind the rear axle. That's now been changed on these spec cars, and they've put the spare wheels underneath, which was one of the questions that people were asking. But if you look here, this is a cavity underneath the car where the 2 spare wheels sit. So then the actual car itself is sort of built on top of that. Okay, so you can see this is where the floor of the vehicle is, and the 2 spare wheels just sit underneath there. Okay, so once again, what that does is it brings all the weight between the axles. Okay, ground clearance, obviously, that's what somebody else asked a question about, is not affected by it, because you're actually more worried about your approach and departure angle. So it's this angle here where you come, so you can see it's cut away, and when it goes through the bottom of the back of the car doesn't catch the ground. I mean, we've got enough height in the middle of the car. Okay. Then the other thing is, if you look here, although the bonnet in terms of its proportions looks like a normal double cab and all that, if you look inside here, you'll see that the motor is set right back. So the front of the engine is right back here. So, and there's your, once again, there's your shock turret. So this is the line of the front suspension, and the motor is actually set deep down, and it's quite difficult to get a visual of it. But if I come around here, okay, so the motor is behind this line in the front of the car. So it's set right back. And if you go and look inside the vehicle, the motor actually, the engine actually comes through underneath here. So where the driver's sitting, you can see that's where the dashboard is, and the motor actually, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but there's the cowl, actually the cover, that aluminium panel is actually above the motor. So the motor is set back, once again, behind the axle. So all the weight of the vehicle is actually between the 2 axles. So that's what gives the cars the good handling and all that. So you try and keep your weight as low as possible, and you try and keep it between the 2 axles. So that's what's being done on these cars. Okay, so once again here, if you look at the front, all that's in front of the front axle is some pipework, radiators, cooling stuff, and that. Okay, also the front angle here, if you look at it, is also it's cut back, so your approach angle to something, to a dune or something like that, is very sharply raked back. So you can come in this angle here, is you can see it gives you the approach angle. And obviously it's right in the massive wheels, so the wheels start picking up the slope before the front of the car touches the ground. Okay, so I think that's a few of the things I want to cover. We can go inside the vehicle. I don't know if there's enough light. Let's just get this open. Okay. So if you look in the back, yeah, there's just 2 seats. Okay, so there's nothing. If you look here, there's a panel directly behind the seat. So in a traditional bakkie, where the back seats go, there aren't any seats, and it's also then in this back section there's fuel tanks and all the like. Okay, and then here you can see here's all the navigator stuff. That's his screen, where he is, where all his directions are that on, and he uses this little pad here, which is sort of removable. I think it's just on Velcro, and he can take it and he can work with it, and he can scroll up and down on the maps that come up on his screen over here. Okay, so gone are the days of the paper maps and directions and all that kind of stuff. It's all electronic. Okay, then he's got, I think, that's the tire pressure monitor on the top, and then this little thing you can set with your cap setting. Okay, right, and you can see the controls and that in the center of the car. But what I'll do is actually, when it's daylight, we'll have another look at the inside of the car, because it'll be a lot clearer. Anyway, so that's just a little bit of basic info. The car, we have the car has to weigh, I think it's 2,050 kilograms, something like that, with fuel and without drivers. And this car is just right on that minimum weight limit. So yeah, so we can't take any more weight out of it, then the car will be underweight. But if you look here, you can actually see it's all carbon fiber. So all the panels in the vehicle are made out of carbon fiber. So that's why, in relative terms, it's quite light. Okay, so I'll show you on the doors as well. Doors also, so you can see there the doors are all carbon fiber, and this as well. Okay, all right, guys, and we'll catch up again later.